According to our most recent estimates, there are about 17,000 homeless people in all of New Mexico. About 1,500 people are homeless in Santa Fe on any given night. That includes 800 children going to the Santa Fe public schools, as well as people sleeping out on the streets, victims of domestic violence, and people living in crowded conditions that aren't fit for human habitation. Homeless people are all different types of people. There are people who are disabled, perhaps with a mental illness, who are homeless for a long time, and then there's a lot of people who are homeless because of their work situation. And of course, when there's an economic downturn like now, the people whose jobs are fragile tend to become homeless, and so we are seeing an increase in homelessness now, as we did back in during other recessions. And I think it's important for people to realize that actually the majority of homeless people do work for a living, and that's how they get by. They just don't have enough money for a home. Housing is too expensive for people. The price of housing has been going up and up and up over the years. It's to the point where people with minimum wage jobs really can't afford to live in housing. And so that's one of the big problems, is we need more subsidized housing, more ways for people to be able to get into housing who can't otherwise afford it. The National Low-Income Housing Coalition, which is a national group that studies housing policy, estimates that homelessness could double over the next year if nothing is done to house all the people who are in need of housing. So in New Mexico, that would mean going from an estimated 17,000 homeless people, which we've probably already passed, up to over 30,000 people being homeless. So we have space in homeless programs for about 3,000 people at one time, and so we're not able to help. We're only able to help a fraction of the people who really need housing, who are either homeless or at risk of being homeless, or will be homeless in the very near future. Senate Bill 244. We are proposing that the state fund its housing trust fund to the tune of $10 million per year. Senate Bill 244 would provide funding for the Housing Trust Fund, which was created in 2005 but has no dedicated source of funding at this time. And the bill would require county clerks, when they record a document, to collect $25 in addition to what they already collect, and to forward that money to the Housing Trust Fund. And then that money would be used for all kinds of affordable housing programs, including rental and home ownership, so that people at the lowest income scale, including homeless people, would have access to housing. The trust fund has already had $15 million, and it's been quite successful in leveraging other money, and has helped, I think, maybe around 1,000 households already, so we might aim to be able to do 1,000 households a year. One of the great things about Senate Bill 244 is that if we pass it this year, then that system would be set in place and the legislature wouldn't have to vote on it every year.